Welcome back to Snake Eater. Okay.
Of which we're still in a dream.
Yeah, we're still in a dream, yes. Alright, so I feel like I'm tired of the Italian flag. Let's take it off.
You know what? Fair enough.
It was so great for the camouflage, though.
We're not gonna see the British flag.
But the reason I kept the Italian flag is because, remember, this entire game is done in real time, including the cutscenes. So meaning any masks, any camouflages you have show up in the cutscenes, and having the Italian flag on Snake's face would be distracting for the cutscenes. So I decided to only use it in places where there's no in-game cutscenes. Again, for the codec calls, of course.
But that's what makes it so fun.
Oh, it is.
It's more of a thing of it's a thing that you might be curious to try on your own. Like say using a silly costume that you unlock, like say the codfish costume in the first God of War game, for example. You know, but maybe not on.
That's what. So go on.
Oh, gone.
In fact, that's what I want for part 2 of the 7 remake. And let me have Cloud wear a ridiculous outfit during an emotional cutscene.
Oh boy, do I have a story to tell you in regards to the 3D Ace Attorney games and their costumes.
Yeah, no, I've seen it. You can have Athena wear a maid outfit during one of the games.
You can have
all you need is the Cloud in a dress mod. That is.
Yeah. Please, Shiro. People already made that a long time ago with the PC version. Although most of the mods for Final Fantasy VII Remake PC is just mods so we can play with Tifa and Aerith in more revealing clothing, though.
Well, again, Cloud in the dress, though. That is essential. And I consider it a failure of mankind that was not included in the base game, cowards.
So basically, Pedro. Pedro, if they did that in the next 7 remake game, you'd basically be turning it into Dead or Alive.
Well, I don't think it's that drastic yet.
I don't mean those extreme volleyball spin-off games. I mean just like the regular one.
Honestly, if you ask me, the Dead or Alive games, when it comes to fan service, are even relatively tame.
I mean, it helped. In that regard, I'm glad because up until the most recent game, but the one because the main character was not quite of age yet.
Oh, hey, Frogger.
Frogger again. Karaka. Sorry, the auditions for Hunter x Hunter are next door, mate.
I think these collectibles are replaced with Yoshis in the 3DS version.
Or maybe they're just flat out not in the game.
No, I distinctly remember a Yoshi collectible doll present somewhere. I don't know if it's a complete replacement or not.
I thought that'd be in Twin Snakes, to be honest.
Oh yeah, in Twin Snakes you have the Mario and Yoshi dolls, yes. In the meantime, let's see what else. No Pikachu dolls. Well, remember, Dwebs, that's beyond just Nintendo. They will also have to get permission for the Pokemon Company.
And again,
one thing people tend to...
We're a bit protective. Conqueror's Bad Fur Day was supposed to have a scene during the war chapter where Pikachu gets, if I recall correctly, saw in half with a chainsaw. But the Pokemon Company was like, nope, not doing that.
One thing people tend to forget. Yeah, one thing people tend to forget with the Pokemon games is that, yes, Nintendo published them, but the Pokemon Company have pretty much the majority say in it.
Not there.
Then where?
The leeches?
Oh, you mean that? Oh, okay.
Okay. Cue the Leeches song from the series for Fortunate Events DVD commentary.
Seriously, paramedic, choose your words better. For a moment there, I thought you were coming on to me.
To get rid of leeches, go into Cure
was
in
both.
the survival viewer and press your cigar into them.
But yeah, to be honest, that kind of humor, just like chopping a cartoon character in half. Honestly, I never really found those really clever.
Snake, that building next to you is a provision storehouse.
It was Okay, back in the time when maybe that stuff was starting out, it was used somewhat cleverly. But the problem is that you get a lot of these raunchy adults that thinks, oh, bastardizing this old character is automatically clever and adult.
It's for the same reason that we have something like Happy Tree Friends. Like there's this innate appeal that a lot of people have from watching these cutesy animals get mauled because, like it's such a complete contrast and how we usually look at those types of characters.
Okay, here's my take. Something like Harvey Birdman, that does the adult takes on old cutesy characters pretty well. Something like the Drawn Together movie is that stuff done terribly.
Yeah, basically, Dwebs, we were talking about in the previous part about how this is basically the best Bond game that's not actually a Bond game. That innuendo right now between Paramedic and Snake, yeah, that's straight up the kind of thing you hear from Bond and any, like someone like Moneypenny or something. Like, so yeah.
I love how despite being on a stealth mission, the way he barges through doors is so loud.
The security is bound to be tight.
But there's no other way to get to the crevice if I don't make it through.
Exactly. The crevice leading to the cave is in the
That's what
north.
he said.
Find a way to slip past the enemy and head north.
No, there's to be more. How about this? Here, I'm sure you remember this one from the older ones, like Balls Q.
Seriously, he's so loud going through the doors. What about the stealth, man?
Bolus 007.
And okay, Snake. Based on what Pedro told me at the end of the last part, what you're going to hear about James Bond, you're in no position to be criticizing Bond's stealth techniques based on what you just did then.
But yeah, like Paramedic said, we have leeches in our bodies,
so dangerously close to his crotch.
Oh, and by the way, might as well talk about this, Shiroi. Keeping up with the running gag. The use for the cigars, not cigarettes, because this is a big boss game, cigars are used to take care of leeches.
I mean,
okay, sure.
You see,
to be fair,
listen, anything to get rid of those little bastards.
The heat from the cigar would make the leeches go, ah.
Don't you see, Shiroi? The smoke that you inhale from the cigar will smoke them out.
Although the interesting thing, sorry,
literally smash the heated part onto them.
Yeah, might as well talk about more about that. Of all the Metal Gear Solid games, this is the one that has that uses the cigar/cigarette does something new to the most, because the cigars actually have 3 different uses in this game. 4 if you count the obligatory it drains your health meter, because remember, tobacco is hazardous for your health. But aside from
somehow Big Boss is in great shape.
It helps him again. It's like with Snake. It helps him. It's like with Solid Snake. It helps him relax.
Smoking kills leeches.
Yeah.
See, you caught yourself articulated pipe.
No, we already heard this one, so let's skip this. I think I have another one coming though. Yes, I do. So hold on a moment. Yeah, basically the idea is that one of the things about Paramedic's food trivia is that sometimes you have to get, sometimes for some reason, this is a bug that was already present in the original. So it's, I mean, I kind of wish Bluepoint fixed this, but I guess they didn't want to mess with the game too much. There you go.
I see you've got yourself a ration. Rations are portable meals carried by Soviet soldiers.
I've heard some nasty stories about how they taste.
It looks like the rumors are true.
Great.
Hey, you should be grateful. Those things are designed to last. No matter how long you keep a ration, it'll never go bad. And they're surprisingly good for you, too.
I'd take a snake over this any day.
You know, okay. You know who's gonna win the Nobel Prize?
Look, Paramedic. Look, Paramedic. He's a snake eater. That's just who he is.
You know who's gonna win the Nobel Prize to end all Nobel Prizes? The guy who makes it so that the most delicious food is actually the healthiest and has the least amount of calories.
But yeah, the basic gist of it is that aside from, of course, draining your health, the cigars can, like I said, kill leeches. They can use to cauterize wounds in the cure menu. And later, we're going to have a cave level that is dark, and we can use the cigar to smoke it, right? And while we're smoking, the cigar lights our way for us. See, I get I get the feeling every time Kojima started conceptualizing each of these games, one of the first things he probably thought was, okay, what ability do I give to the cigar this time?
I'm curious, did Kojima ever smoke in his life?
Not that we've seen. I mean, even when he's just in an interview or anything, we don't typically see him smoking. Like, it's not like with Tom Moore. Like, for those who don't know, Tom Moore is the director of Wolf Walkers and Song of the Sea and all those awesome Irish animated movies. Both Hayao Miyazaki and Tom Moore are very heavy smokers, and we've seen them smoke a lot in behind-the-scenes stuff. I've never seen Kojima smoke anything in any, and I've been following this man's career since 1998. So I'm gonna say probably not. I mean, it's possible, I guess, but if he is a smoker, he definitely doesn't show it.
About it in case, yeah.
I'm just wondering where he got these ideas in regards to the smoking and thing. And
because
it's one of those random generator wheels, and he just picked something.
I'm pretty sure it's just him. I'm pretty sure it just boils down to him being quirky, and that's it.
You also have to remember, Jova, that being a fan of Western movies of almost all of these decades. What's one of the more influential parts of Sergio Leone's westerns, where Clint Eastwood was chomping his cigar constantly?
Oh yeah.
The AK-47. That's a classic.
Is the official assault rifle
Typical Soviet engineering. Effective, but it manages to work.
So, was it more or less finicky than the typewriter?
Technically less, because this being either jammed or overheated very constantly.
Wow, it says something when you're a less effective weapon than the Chicago typewriter. The weapon that, if I recall correctly, was infamous for sometimes being shot and an entire room full of people, grazed maybe two.
No better assault rifle in the world.
That's different, Jova. You're talking about bullet spreading. I'm talking about making sure that the gun doesn't explode in your hands.
Oh, right. Okay, I guess in that case the typewriter was more effective.
What was I? Oh, hold on.
Although the
TNT.
typewriter did have a bit of an overheat issue.
Yeah, basic classic, yeah.
A pale yellow crystalline compound made from
as for the whole, how did they come up with the whole cigars do something different every game, Jova? Remember, Jova, this is the same guy who had the brilliant idea of a video game where you use an owl to hoot, to fool a guard into thinking it's nighttime. I'm pretty sure Kojima's brain just works different. Like, so just...
Honestly, if that game, if NG2 actually bothered to establish a particular thing like the guard is blind and thus uses the owl as a recognition system, but at that point it would not make sense to have him standing on guard.
Like for example, Java, like you already know that when it comes to the whole, do you think Kojima is a mad genius or just plain mad? I'm in the mad genius camp, and let's face it, Jova. Every genius throughout history has always been at least somewhat eccentric. Like usually geniuses of their field typically have some kind of quirk. Like they're usually not traditional in their behavior.
Kojima definitely did buck the trend here and there. I'll give you that.
The enemy units in the area will have their ammo supply cut off, and if they know they're on their last leg, they'll use ammo a little more sparingly in a gunfight.
Developing AI, are we, Mr. Kojima?
By destroying an army,
trust me, you think this is complex? Wait till we get to Phantom Pain.
We'll get to it. For now, remember, basically, sure, in case you, just to as a reminder, after we finish this game, we're gonna put the Big Boss Saga on pause and go back to the Solid Snake Saga, so we can finally see what happens after the end of Metal Gear Solid 2. So you can look forward to that.
You know, the thing is, oddly enough, I wonder if Kojima thought there were still some things he could flesh out more, because Peace Walker feels like something that arguably should have come before for...
Well, remember, Jova, Kojima, after finishing this game, like we've said before, he wasn't particularly interested in returning to the saga. He was far more interested in continuing the Big Boss saga because, as he himself has said, Big Boss is his favorite of the two Snakes. Big Boss is my favorite character in the Metal Gear series, so I agree. I'm actually on his camp there.
I'm curious, Pedro. Are you one of those fans who considers Naked Snake and Big Boss to be technically two different characters?
No,
because you know Big Boss kind of goes a bit Darth Vader-ish and all.
That's not really the case at all. Like again, remember, Jova, like and just to put that thing that I was talking about from the previous part to rest. Again, that's one of the main reasons why I've always been an adamant of that. I was never really an approving of Naked Snake having the same voice. Oh, hold on, I'll finish this later.
Yeah, this is also important.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Hey, Ocelot.
We don't have time for you.
Looks like the boss's info.
You recovered well from taking that motorcycle to the face.
Well, remember, Joe, we can't
He'll
have
do anything for Senpai.
We can't. Yeah, that too. What Shiro just said, and
Twice now you've made me taste bitter.
oh my God, Shiro! Now you just got me imagining Ocelot teasing,
Can you stop doing
teasing,
that?
and I've just got me imagining Big Boss teasing Snake Nagatoro style. Like,
Oh
Hey,
god.
look at that, guys. He made an Ocelot call.
That's a mental image.
But you're mine now.
Hey, that gesture. Apparently,
pay attention to this gesture because I'm never doing it again.
Apparently, that was improvised by the mocap actor, and Kojima was like, "Fuck it, we're keeping it."
Wait a minute. You called in a bunch of these guys just to get rid of them afterwards. You outnumber him like
He
20
wants
to
an
1.
audience,
Just shoot him.
Remember-
By the way, this twirling completely genuine because
Yes.
the mocap actor actually had props, which he did all of his shit.
Remember,
This is like a Bond movie.
well, like that's what I said, Whips. That's what I've been saying. Like, this is Kojima's big James Bond thing, and he feels like he probably already feels like he's done the best possible Bond game for himself with this.
Oh yeah. 2
Hey,
guns,
am I
12
supposed to be
shots
impressed?
total.
Yes, I don't know. I actually find that very impressive. I wouldn't be able. Would you be able to do
I'm
that?
not giving satisfaction to this little shit.
But Tio,
Hey, Shiroi, I get the feeling Kojima likes westerns, but that's just this inkling that I'm getting right now.
I can't tell.
Yeah.
Also, hilariously for this boss fight, Ocelot apparently has also his own tunnel vision. If you get behind a boulder, he practically forgets, but he doesn't actually understand where you are anymore.
Yeah. So yeah, Ocelot is our first proper boss battle. Like Snake, the boss also have their own stamina gauge, meaning you don't necessarily have to kill the boss. You can just stun them if you drain all of their stamina. Well, in MGS2 too, it was only Olga that had that.
Let me guess. If you outright kill Ocelot in this fight, it'll cause a time paradox.
No, not in this one. I mean, this. I'm guessing Kojima wanted to make it like in case you're not, because remember, the stamina gauge refills automatically, which means it's harder to stun the bosses than to outright drain them of the life bar. So I'm guessing Kojima probably didn't want to make the bosses too difficult, like in terms of this boss battle too difficult in terms of, well, you can still drain his life, but the game considers it that he runs away before you properly kill him, like, you know, just to make the boss battle more doable for the player.
And now you're
reload indeed.
I know that a quick draw duel, yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Development of Ocelot's logo.
And yes, this is not just in the cutscene before the boss battle. The boss battle keeps having these quick draw moments. Shiroi, I know I've asked you this before, but I might as well ask again because I feel like it's begging for it at this point. Like, how are we in the contest right now? Who's less subtle about homaging things he likes, Kojima or Hino?
I feel like they're both as bad in different ways.
So, how are you supposed to win this fight then?
Shoot him.
Again, no, I appreciate this kind of thing.
Better is that you don't get back
It
this
doesn't
way,
do
because
anything.
Well, you haven't noticed because you're focusing on the L bar. Look at the stamina base right below. It actually been depleted more than half. So Pedro is having the upper hand.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's so tiny though. Can you
Well, yeah, that is true. Well, yeah, that is true. I mean, accessibility settings in this game, in this era, didn't really exist. So unfortunately, yeah, it's going to be a problem if you're a problem.
I remember the stamina bar being more.
I can't see it.
I remember the stamina bar being more.
Well, yeah, that's what I said.
Game.
I will
say.
What I would have done was color the stamina bar with something that's not.
Yeah, I agree.
The top health bar.
Go ahead, Shiro. You were going to say?
Especially since you'd be mistaken for thinking that, oh, it's the same thing because they're the same colors.
Yeah.
Hold on, Shiro. Give me the Lunka's cutscene now.
No, that's fine.
Okay, are we done?
Nope.
A deadly weapon.
Found us.
Just when I was starting to enjoy myself.
Oh my god.
Bees?
No!
Okay, I think those are more supposed to be hornets. The game will explain. And apparently Ocelot's way of swatting away is doing the revolver.
Sure, why the fuck not? Shit, Tim, you talk about it as if that's a bad thing. I don't...
Leave the man be eccentric. Oh my god, no. Yeah, I just ate.
I'm actually very... It's interesting because when it comes to that, and I get it. I'm personally... I think I might just be very resistant when it comes to that regard because I've never had like a problem where I watch something gross after eating and have some kind of thing to... Well, I never... I guess I'm just resistant in that matter when it comes to that thing.
For me, it's not with all gross things. It's just the specific things.
Bye.
Didn't get stung once, the absolute Chad.
Like for example, you know the whole thing when people say something pervy and during dinner and people say, "Hey, we're eating," or that kind of thing, right? I'm one that's always like. What does that? I mean, that person saying that thing doesn't stop me from eating. So whatever. I guess
we talk about vulgar things at the dinner table around here.
It really depends from person to person, Pedro.
Well, yeah, we just had a duel with Ocelot, and hey, the kid's getting better.
Yes, and like I said before, this is a cave in the dark. Hey guys, what tool do we have in our arsenal that can light us, light in this dark cave?
The
Union Jack, the bright colors from the Union Jack.
Put the flag as...
Okay. To be fair, it's black paint used for camouflage purposes. It has nothing to do with what you're thinking. To be fair.
Again, Dweebs, also be buckled because we're actually gonna need it for a boss fight.
Yes,
of course. Dress as a scientist.
It's not the same. Yeah, it's not the same thing. It's not. It's not even this. It's not even technically the same kind of painting as the actual blackface thing. So it's not really the same thing here. I will argue.
Yeah. But for now, it's better for our camouflage.
What I was gonna say was, I'm glad you were all describing what was going on when you were out in the field, because it's like, oh, there's a snake there. What fucking snake? I haven't seen a single snake in this game outside of the menu.
Sure. Oh, sure. Sure. Trust me. Sure. I understand. Well, should I think of?
Are you okay, Snake?
I know they want to do camouflage, but come on, man.
Sure. I understand.
You're not hurt?
No, that was a hell of a drop, but I'm fine. Looks like there's no way back up, though.
I see. Well, anyway, it's good to hear you're not injured. Slipping and falling may not have been part of the plan, but getting into that
either that or this is where Ben Stiller... This is a design that Ben Stiller got the inspiration from for that character from Tropic Thunder.
All right, but it might take me a while to get through this cave.
Are you hurt?
No.
Is it the enemy? Did they set a trap for you?
Not that either.
Then what is it?
It's dark in here.
Dark?
Yeah, there's no light anywhere. I should have brought a flashlight with me.
So what
I am legit surprised you did not think to include that.
Right.
Snake, if you don't have a flashlight, you should be looking for a substitute.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Major Snake. Get your noggin jogging, please.
He's like, see where you're going, you dipshit.
Yeah, seriously, what happened to improvisation? I thought the Americans were good at that.
Oh,
Not
we
only that,
are.
I can't seem
In
to grasp that
fact,
one piece of equipment
that's
has
exactly what
multiple
Zero is
functions.
encouraging
Back
in
when
Big
I was on the
Boss.
NCA,
Yes.
we never had that problem.
Oh, notice,
Creative.
notice Snake,
If you don't have a
Yeah, sometimes when someone rambles on in the codec, Big Boss will do this face where he scratches his cheek with his finger or something like because the person is just going on and on and on. So
Don't you
that's a
have
funny
anything
detail
that
there.
provide you with some light?
Yeah, basically this is the game telling, look at your inventory,
Snake, you've got a
dipshit.
gunshot wound. When you get shot, you'll sometimes suffer a gunshot wound. The
Sometimes?
Sometimes.
Hey, guys! Sometimes when you get shot, you'll get wounded, but other times you'll be just fine.
Again, was she actually beating his leg of a wound
About
that
what I
actually
was saying
keeps
about the
bleeding?
dialogue being better.
No, Debs. This is not the same thing as that does. What she means by that is that when you get gunshot by the enemy, sometimes the game will create a gunshot wound that you have to treat gameplay-wise. That's what they mean.
In Universe Lives, like I said, it's more a case of when you get shot, sometimes the wound will be constantly bleeding instead of, being a superficial
Hey guys,
one.
hey guys, did you know that sometimes if you're running to
Hornets, there you
fire,
go.
you might get burns, but other times you'll be just fine.
I figured as much.
Of course the pain uses hornets, because hornets are bees without the redeeming qualities.
Actually, those are wasps more than anything, Trevor.
Alright, wasps. Yeah.
Hornets are a sort of in-between thing.
I'll try and dig up as much as I can about them. You just focus on moving ahead. Go to the end
Everyone
of the cave and
does.
come out in an aqueduct overgrown with mangroves. This
Well, I
leads to
guess
the
except for
Conservatory
Hank
Swamp.
Pym.
And Snake,
Zoshi.
be careful. That
Ah,
pain
thanks,
is
Oh,
Eva.
she sounds concerned.
Thanks, Eva. What would I do without you?
to tell you then. If it's completely dark and you need a light, try using a torch.
We're
A
probably
torch.
Torches stored somewhere in that cave.
Torches. Got it. So where are they?
Huh?
Where are the torches?
Is
How
Snake
should I
afraid
know?
of the
Go
dark?
find them yourself.
No.
Because the dialogue before with Major Zero and now this a bit of, impulsiveness with Eva makes me ponder if he's actually a bit afraid.
I'm thinking it's more so the fact that he's worried that he can't see than anything.
There's the gunshot wound.
I wouldn't be surprised if Big Boss is a bit afraid of the dark.
Okay, so basically for gunshot wounds, you have to use the knife to get the bullet out of your body. After that, you need to also use the disinfectant. And also, after doing all of that shit, you have to also apply a bandage.
Whoa, Snake was shot in the head and he's alive. Damn.
Remember, Dwebs, the way the cure mechanic works is very gamey. It's not at all trying to be realistic at all.
One thing to keep in mind with the dialogue is that one thing Kojima likes to do is pretty much merge the in-story dialogue with game mechanics to the point where things can feel borderline meta.
Yeah, the way the Metal Gear universe
still-
works is that there's no such thing as the fourth wall. Like, the characters talk like this because it's just how this universe works.
I think the best way to describe Metal Gear Solid as a whole is it is quite possibly one of the most serious takes of fourth wall breaking in the case where, despite the fourth wall breaking, the games do stay, and sometimes comically to a point, but nonetheless dead serious.
No, it's because it's a different kind of fourth wall break. It's not like the characters turn to the camera and address the audience. No. The characters talk like this because this is just how people talk in this universe. Death Stranding does the same thing. Kojima likes to do this. Like, the characters acknowledge... Like, let me put it this way. Kojima likes to make games where the characters act like they're in a video...
I forgot
Hey,
about
that's
this
one
year,
way to
sorry.
provide. That's one way to provide light. A gunshot.
That works too, yes.
Well, a flashbang.
Oh, and
Yeah,
you killed the snake.
I'll go do
How
something
nice.
That's one of the things that I really like about the way Kojima writes his games, in that it's like Kojima has his characters talk the way people who would talk if they existed in a video game. Like, it's not so much they talk about gameplay mechanics. They talk about all these press the X button, press the whatever, and they don't talk about that because tutorial reason. They talk about that because that's just how the world works for them, you know.
The Slayer games had something similar going on with the whole jump and press the circle button, but that was mostly treated as comedy. This one does it, but in a sense of serious business, more than anything.
Mm-hmm. That's why the
Big Lebowski, I guess.
That's why the AI kernel iconic moment from Metal Gear Solid 2 works as well as it does, because it's fourth wall breaking, probably the most over the top fourth wall breaking Metal Gear has ever done. But again, because at this point you're just so used to this, it's just how this world works that it just feels natural. It just feels like a natural escalation from what came before.
Oh, there you go.
Go on, Taylor.
I have to admit, before these waterfalls, I was not even able to see shit myself in this.
If I recall correctly, you can sort of cheese these by tinkering with your TV settings.
Yeah, or even I'm maxing out the lighting.
That being said, Shiroi, if it helps you, if the upcoming Snake Eater remake by Virtua Studios that's been heavily like to the point where people are just.
Pedro, I thought that wasn't really a thing.
Yeah, I would like for us to wait until a couple of days before.
Well, okay.
Make any claims.
At least let Pedro finish.
If it helps you to, I'll add an hypothetical remake to that sentence if it helps you. I'm pretty confident that game, considering apparently it's being handled as again like with the remake of Silent Hill 2, it's a partnership between Sony and Konami. So that game probably will have accessibility settings. So
I'm surprised that
hopefully there's kind of no excuse not to these days from
sure.
big games.
Well,
sure.
You know more about it, Shiri, because from what I check, I haven't seen much of what I just said. But aside from a very few exceptions, and even those you yourself told me that they don't really work as intended, what kind of games recently, particularly maybe the AAA titles, did have in their accessibility setting toggling of some kind, either turn on or off, for intense flashing?
Nintendo is the most obvious one because they still don't do anything.
Oh no, I was talking about, do you know actually a game that actually includes something like that, a toggling of that? Because I do remember the general release of that accessibility setting for something like Sony games tend to have, and I don't remember hearing about that particularly.
I think
and flashing related ones, like I'm not sure about the AAA stuff, but flash related settings seem to be like a pretty standard setting that indie games have. Like, kind of expect to see it, like text speed kind of things.
I think Insomniac's games have those.
Okay, so indie games surprisingly do get into that, but what would you say about AAA or, the big mainstream games?
I think Insomniac's games have them.
In terms of flashing stuff, but I also haven't heard anything bad either, considering I follow quite a few accessibility blogs.
Sure.
So if there was anything that didn't include that kind of thing, I would know about it. So I'm going to assume there are settings right now, but I don't know 100%.
I haven't checked in a while, Shiro, but I think Insomniac's games have those.
Yeah, Insomniac were kind of some of the biggest pushes for all this.
I will give Jeff Keighley this. I do think it was a wise idea to include an award for best
hold on. This thing here. Speaking of fourth wall breaking, wait, aren't you the one who's always keeping people waiting?
Also, essentially, this entire dialogue is a product placement for what's it called, the calories. Product placement that they have. It's similar to the Cup Noodle side quest in Final Fantasy 15.
Diet Cola.
Oh, look at that, Shiro, paramedic, and look at that, Shiro, paramedic as a weeb.
I see you found some Russian glow caps.
Oh,
the Russian glow
almost like this
cap
game was
is
made by a
kind
Japanese
of
developer or
a
something.
mushroom that glows in the dark.
Why would a mushroom glow in the dark?
It's bioluminescent,
Yeah,
just like a firefly.
Bioluminescence. You can actually see this in algae too, and it produces some very beautiful looking water at night.
As seen in the host.
Breaking it down into
notice his face now? That's Snake's face. In the bottom right corner.
Science.
When they return to their base,
I want to learn more about guns. I don't care about this shit.
And cardboard boxes.
Oh. She was so disappointed.
Oh, this one.
I mean, it seems like if you ate a glowing mushroom, It might recharge your batteries or something.
What the?
What is this,
No, it
Mario?
would probably kill you.
Hold on.
They produce electricity by utilizing the potential difference between cells. Organic batteries are known for their highly efficient energy conversion.
I didn't ask for a science lesson.
So Pedro, would you say it's like Snake is the Mario to Eva's Peach?
I get. I get.
Let's just go with that, Snake.
Sure, why not?
Wait,
Oh,
Snake.
hold on.
What?
Huh?
You know the Ocelot unit commander?
Ocelot?
Yeah, that's not
Creative
his real
naming.
name, is it?
I wouldn't think so.
Is it a code name?
You mean like Snake?
Yeah.
Maybe. Why? Is that strange?
No, I was just wondering why he's called Ocelot.
Again, the Soviets really didn't do this kind of thing, so it is a bit strange.
Turns out the Ocelot is a wild
And,
cat whose habitat stretches from the southern
He
west
doesn't have
down to
2
the
heads
northern
last I
east.
checked.
They live in a variety of different environments, from tropical rainforests to savannas. The biggest ones can grow up to 1 meter in length. They're
It's a big
normally
cat.
solitary.
I actually learned this from this game. I wasn't aware that there was a cat named
During the day,
Ocelot.
they sleep up in the trees,
Yep,
but at night,
Wildcat though.
See,
The Soviets tend to,
right.
well, the Russians tend to prefer the Karakal.
you see, Joe, you were talking about making fun, making learning fun in the previous part. Like that's what Metal Gear does as well. Like it makes learning fun.
See, video games are educational
Maybe it's
sometimes.
because he's fast and agile like an Ocelot.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no, Snake.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Well,
He's kind of
he-
ditzy, actually.
Well, okay, he'll get better, guys.
Because I
I
was
mean,
curious.
we know, but
How much so?
Jesus.
You can bet his arm on it.
I will say this though, as you can see, Ocelot was definitely a work in progress.
Oh, here you go. Dwebs, enjoy.
Yeah, no, I mean, don't worry.
We're ready for it again.
This is one of the big highlights of the game for me.
All right.
Snake, have you seen 007 from Russia with Love?
I don't like those movies. Real spies are nothing like James Bond. It's pure fantasy.
Snake.
He's kind of right.
Uh-oh,
The
hold on,
point of
hold
a
on,
spy
hold on.
would be that you aren't
Even
well
though it's
known.
fiction, I can't help but comparing myself to Bond.
What exactly
Oh
don't you like
no.
Oh no.
Oi, 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 what's going on here?
Oh snap.
Hold on.
Snake, wouldn't you like to have a gun shaped like a pen?
What good is a pen gonna do me in the jungle? I'd look like a fool.
Then what about a
You can-
snake-shaped gun? You could make it
What?
look like you're grappling with a giant snake and then get a shot in on the enemy while they're
Major, we
stuck.
don't have time for your Britishness.
Now you're being ridiculous.
I love how he's such a big fan. He literally was summoned the moment James Bond was mentioned.
I'll
I think
prove him
Snake
wrong,
could, like-
damn it. I'll make him like these movies.
How to handle a lady,
I think
right?
Snake could like more like the Casino Royale 2006.
I don't like the idea of playing hanky-panky with enemy femme fatales either. But that's part of Bond's appeal. You could learn a thing or two from him. I mean, what about this
I don't know. That's just Xenia on top got a little violent.
You need to get laid,
It's
Snake.
not like me. You can't let yourself get involved.
It's
This is
funny
a
you mention
game
that,
of spy
Shiroy.
versus spy.
Yeah, hold on.
She's using you just as much as you're using
Ah,
her.
you're just exaggerating, Major.
You've got to grab the initiative, and to do that,
He's telling him to hit that.
That's what a spy is
Relationship
supposed to do.
advice.
Major is a bro, Shiroi.
Maybe if you change your code name to 00 Snake.
That's a bit
Wow.
naughty.
007 is the
Hold on.
biggest thing to
Oh, by
come
the
out
way,
of
by the
Hold on,
way,
hold on, hold on.
wondering.
Is that true, Dwebs? 007 is the biggest one to come out of England since Mayflower?
Maybe.
By the way, in case you're wondering, the Major is completely serious about all that stuff he suggested.
I know.
He is that big.
No, she's saying right now, don't you see, the Major's a big Bond fan. Now I'm gonna have to listen to him lecture for a while.
I was gonna say he's gonna be complaining
Yeah,
about this for the
my
next 10
sympathy.
hours.
Those people who can't enjoy spy flags.
I do
There you
like
go,
how
we're
Snake.
just gonna stand with that.
Yeah, Snake.
Agree to
guys, I got
disagree.
it.
Hangs up.
guys, I got it. Have a what year is this? 1964. Just have him wait 3 years, and then we can show him the big double bill of Casino Royale 1967 and OK Connery.
So,
I do like how Snake. But I do like how Snake touches base on probably possibly the biggest critique people have about James Bond. For a guy who's supposed to be the world's greatest spy, a lot of people sure know about him, which is kind of, problematic when you're trying to be a spy.
this actually gives me a chance to ask you this, Dwebs. Like, since I'm assuming you probably mean what that the end joke is. Like, what exactly does that mean? Oh, 007 is the best thing to come out of England since Mayflower. What does that mean?
That's a sheep, Pedro.
Oh.
Yeah. basically, Pedro, the Mayflower was the ship that brought the Pilgrims over from Europe to
Oh.
America.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. All right. Well, there you go. So, do you agree with the Major then? I'm guessing you agree with the Major on that front?
Well, I mean, Doctor Who was also around as well at that point. Doctor Who started here after James Bond, so.
But was it?
Referring in exporting, your media. Doctor Who was not that much famous.
Oh no,
outside of the UK.
I mean, some Doctor Who episodes were exported to different countries. It's thanks to that we managed to get some of them back after fear of being lost, mainly from Nigeria.
All right, everybody. So while the Major hopefully calms down,
He's still going to be making those snake-themed weapons for us now.
fucking Snake doesn't appreciate
Man
it.
has terrible taste in movies. What the actual?
I mean, okay, granted, the film that came out the following year, Thunderball, I'm not quite sure that would have changed his mind.
Yeah, no, not really. But like Dweb said, yeah, he probably would like, because, Royale 2006, probably. All right, see you for the next part, everybody.
See ya.